Hi, my name is Ken Clayton, and I have the monumental task of discussing leadership on the front line. Hopefully, by the time we wrap this thing up, we will have mentioned something which could help you accelerate a project, heal a relationship, or move more confidently into your next challenge. And maybe, just maybe, our chat today will demystify leadership for one or two of us, because everything we discuss is well within our grasp of everyone on this call. I do wish we were together. This is great, but being together is more inspiring. My jokes are terrible, but I know I could count on your courtesy laughter to see me through. Today, I will just use my imagination. Perhaps you can tell I'm not a kid anymore, far from it. Our conversation will draw upon experiences at various levels of different organizations, experienced across a 40-plus year professional life. The last 30 years includes some time with Milliken & Company, where my role was involved in the automotive supply chain, BMW specifically. And that sounds glamorous, and it wasn't. I will share a story about leadership that shaped me significantly. And then, in a blink of an eye, I went from Milliken & Company to SolidWorks, where I spent 20 years in many phases and many roles, ultimately having the privilege of running the global business for around 10 years. As a result, I have friends all over the world and have learned so much from them. Currently, I'm a member of a leadership team focused on building a 3D printing startup called Markforged. I know you've heard of it. It's growing fast, hiring dozens of new team members every month. It possesses an amazing IP, which draws a highly qualified crowd of manufacturing engineers and design professionals. These folks deserve and demand our very best. And every day is a new, high-energy day at Markforged as we shape the business practices and processes required to deliver this remarkable IP to a discerning marketplace. Thank you for that. We are honored to serve. For today's conversation regarding leadership, we can draw upon all those experiences and a few others that I have enjoyed along the way. We can as well share the insights learned from the world's thought leaders on this topic. So thankful they are here for us. And evidently, leadership is a pretty big topic. Amazon is willing and able to sell me 60,000 titles at 2 books per week, provided everything we know has already been documented. I'll be all caught up on my reading by the year 2600. Probably not going to happen. And of course, there are some timeless books for my trade, as I am certain there are for yours. These titles can teach us a lot along the way, so although you can't read everything, you can benefit from reading the best. But that's not what today is about. We're putting those aside to talk about what's worked. What's worked for me, whether I was operating from a position of authority or whether I was just working with my teammates. Before we go any further, I want to thank you and our friends at Design Point for this opportunity. I submit up front that I recognize I'm standing here talking about leadership to a group of people who have accomplished great things. Does this guy even know what he's talking about? Well, we'll see pretty soon. I do subscribe to the concept of undersell and overdeliver, so I will share 2 thoughts on my qualification. Exactly 0 of my high school teachers would have thought this moment even remotely possible. I may or may not have been characterized as distracted as a young man. I'm not sure. I wasn't even listening. And I want to add that my wife of 37 years would already be telling me to get to the point. You talk too much. I consider this type of coaching from her love language. This privilege of leadership is so precious. We are being trusted with the energies and efforts of others. If we earn their followership, we must deliver. Failure is not an option. Yet often companies and we as individuals invest little to develop ourselves to be leaders. We assume, I guess, that we'll figure it out as it comes. For some of us, when we hear the word leadership, our imagination takes us to another place. An exciting, perhaps even emotion-filled vision takes shape in which we are large and in charge, and I will finally get this place in shape. I'm going to clean up this mess and change the world. We will have a bigger office, a fancier title, and more money. Mom and Dad will be so proud. But of course, those glorious images give way to the truth. Leadership is about serving people, hardworking, caring people who do their best. They want what's right for their children. They crave honesty, stability, consistency, and logic. If those elements are in place, they will come with us on our journey. When leadership takes the right form, they become creative, brave, energetic, and supportive to each other and their leaders. The inspiration becomes an epidemic and spreads from team member to team member. Yet leadership, particularly at the beginning, can be gritty and relentlessly demanding. And we discover it is certainly not about being a hero. It asks a lot of us, yet sometimes provides little money, recognition, or career benefits than we expected. In fact, leadership has taught me two phrases I didn't know existed. It looks like I need to make the least worst choice here. And the second one is, well, at least this decision will leave everyone equally upset with me. It can be humbling, frustrating, and mind-boggling. It can get political, weird, and manipulative. Often, capable people simply say no thanks because leaders often can catch the blame. It comes with risk, and some are unwilling to take those risks. So today we will try to explore some fundamentals about ourselves and our attitudes that enable our effectiveness as leaders. Leadership is best defined by our ability to influence the behaviors of those who don't report to us. Yes, it's true that when folks do report to us officially, we are accountable for the right leadership actions. But let's never forget that influencing people who follow you because they want to versus answer to you because they have to is the true measure of leadership. I certainly don't claim to be perfect, and it's not my place to say that I'm a good leader, but I can confidently say that when I apply these principles, my work is far more satisfying, the results are better, and I have less stress and more happiness. Let's visit today's first suggestion. Be the true you, but make it all about the team. The company's mission and its customers comes first, clearly. The needs of the team and its individual contributors are also very important, far more important than the leader's personal ambitions. In fact, leaders serve many masters. If their attitude is right, it can come naturally and easily, and it builds momentum. But you don't have to change who you are to be a leader. Be authentically you. Operate with confidence. But make sure you understand well the needs of your team and ensure those needs are being met. Understanding this principle and having the emotional maturity to consistently apply it is required to deliver leadership in a sustainable form. To ensure this is happening, leadership requires communication, which starts with active listening. Make sure your team knows the why we do what we do and why we measure the things we measure. They absolutely know what is expected of them and the definition of success for the team. And help them to understand, always, what's in it for them. Remember the BMW supply chain role I mentioned? Well, as glamorous as that sounds, the job was to provide compression molded textile parts for the trunk. And no one, absolutely no one, wanted to work in this complex, demanding department. The rest of the plant was Tier 3, big rolls of textiles coming off the line, scooped up by a forklift, and put on a truck. In my department, we had to die cut and inventory the textiles, compression mold, water jet cut, and label and place in sequence. It was hot, physically demanding, challenging work. No one was happy, and turnover was high. And that was just out in the plant. In the office, no one wanted to support the program. Even ordering raw materials was harder. Different quality expectations. Scheduling was complex. Even HR lost interest. Unemployment in the area had dropped to less than 2%. There were better jobs. But if we fell behind or provided less than perfect quality, we could lose the program. On my watch. Yikes, how did I end up in this mess? So we did the simplest thing imaginable. We communicated. I met with folks and helped them understand the importance of the program to the future of the company, as well as how much we appreciated their support. We celebrated their contributions and invited them to visit the BMW plant. BMW helped out a lot by loaning us a Z3 Roadster for the weekends so team members could take turns driving it. The result? Everyone felt connected, part of the mission. We recovered. We kept up the program, and it became profitable in 2 years after an original return on investment study indicating that we would not even break even until year 7. Did any of this require a rocket scientist? Nope. We were just good folks focusing on the team. The second suggestion that I want to bring to the party today is focus on being successful, not on being right. It's human nature to believe we have the answer. As leaders, it's okay to have an opinion and have confidence that your skills, experience, and intelligence enable you to have great ideas and big plans. In fact, the world should stop right now and listen to your brilliant ideas. If you are human, you will likely have felt this way a time or two. Yet, we quickly learn that good ideas are abundant. Without execution, those ideas die a quiet death. And execution requires your team's acceptance. So, the good news is the pressure is off. You don't have to have all the best ideas. The leader, in fact, can't spend very much time at all protecting his personal ideas. The leader protects the process and stays focused on the team's success. The third suggestion is my favorite, but it's the hardest one. It's the idea that we can love the person even when we don't love what they do. As my career developed as a young man, I was surprised to learn more about mankind's less than ideal behaviors. People can be nasty. They'll take credit for others' work. They'll lie, cheat, and steal. Who knew? This revelation surprised me and rocked my world. But I couldn't walk away from my career choice. I had a family counting on me. So before I sought shelter in a less competitive career path, I pledged I would stay, but I would conduct myself differently. I would simply not do those things I found, candidly, reprehensible. If I failed in this role because I stuck to my values, then okay, but I would first give it one more try. Every day, I had opportunities to put my plan into action. I discovered quickly when I stayed positive, helped others succeed, and actively listened more and spoke less, my job was funner. I learned faster, and real, authentic friendships were beginning to form. Just a few months in, I experienced the single most difficult challenge to date. Could I stick to the plan under those conditions in which I have often failed in life? One of those macho confrontational moments in which someone, unprovoked, was aggressive and offensive? At that time, I was a member of a new organization tasked with earning the business of very large companies. I was an individual contributor. It was quite a task, as we were new in town and the largest companies in the world weren't that impressed. But after a year or two, it started to take shape. As they often do, technology companies recognize individual performance and contribution. Following an awards dinner of this nature, at which that organization called my name a few times, I was headed back to my room, awkwardly carrying those heavy cut glass awards they feel we have to have, and an angry colleague approached me. "I hope you had a good time tonight," he proclaimed, "because next year you will sit in the audience all night and watch me go up on the stage and collect every award you received tonight and many more." My response was, "I would love to see that happen. You have the knowledge and the talent. If there's anything I can do to help you with that, please let me know. I want to see it happen." The anger drained from his face. His posture changed. He looked, in fact, a little confused, but it was the beginning of something important. Today, almost 20 years later, this gentleman is a special friend who has been on my team for years. He has done great work, taking on difficult challenges that I placed in front of him. No one else was up for those challenges. He proved himself loyal, committed, and focused, and I credit that one moment for that result. Did I take the right action that night because I was hoping for a leadership career to follow? No. I made a pledge as to who I was going to be and scraped together somehow the ability to live up to that pledge in that moment. It reinforced what I suspected more than any other experience. Leaders act like leaders, even when there might be justifiable reason not to. This concept is not meant to let folks off the hook. Everyone is accountable to the team. As a leader, you have to make tough decisions required to build the right team. The point is, people perform better when they realize they are supported and respected and allowed to be human. Our next suggestion: think about fixing problems, not people. Make the decision to pour all your energy and even anger, we love to call it passion, into a focus on process, building better products, building better processes. We all have our favorite methodologies for this. I have a very simple approach that I followed for years, not even remember I can't even remember who I learned it from. Current state, desired state, and building the steps to achieve. When you do this with your team, they're part of the action and they feel like they've invested and they'll carry the load. This principle simply keeps me on course. And of course, if you want to fix somebody, look in the mirror. You might find some work to do. Our next suggestion is really pretty simple. Stay humble, thankful, and thoughtful. Do you really want to work for somebody without those qualities? Do you want to work for someone who is arrogant, unappreciative, and reckless with their words and actions? Of course not. Ask yourself, how would your colleagues describe you? How would your staff describe you? Take an action today to ensure that they do describe you in the form in which you desire. Start by listening. It shows that you care. So let's just take a moment and review the leadership principles and suggestions that we talked about today that apply regardless of your title. Number one, leaders make it about others, not about themselves. Leaders are servants. Number two, leaders don't need to be right. They need to enable their team to be successful. Number three, walk the leadership path. Love the person even when you don't love what they've done. Number four, fix the problem, not the person. And number five, remain humble, thankful, and thoughtful. We've been talking today about leadership of our colleagues, leadership when we don't have authority. Let's just spend a minute on that moment in which you got the call. Now you're leading with authority. Congratulations, you have been promoted. For some, this is a crowning achievement. For others, it's more of a reluctant acceptance. Regardless, my reaction is simply this: you are now responsible for many. Are you ready? What do you do now? Well, guess what? You listen and you learn. First, from your boss. Why were you chosen for this role? Do you have an absolute 100% clarity on the definition of success going forward? And with your new team. What's already working and working well? And where are there opportunities? And look around. Someone might be disappointed. They wanted the job that you now have. Deal with it straight on and make a plan and apply those principles we've talked about today. Give them a break. You might make a friend. Connect to your new colleagues, your peers, your new set of peers. They will want you to be successful and can help you find your way. Remember this: what got you here doesn't guarantee your success going forward. Being a great individual contributor doesn't mean you will be a great leader. Great individual contributors are often independent, driven, and myopic. Pay attention to the fundamental human elements you seek in a leader and challenge yourself to demonstrate those qualities. Find a leadership coach and trust their mentorship. It might be somebody you're sitting next to right now. Practice asking questions versus making declarative statements. To wrap up, I want to share just one final thought that has served me well under all of these conditions. I apply this principle every day. And it's very simple. Nobody cares what you know until they know that you care. I wish I was the person that said that first. So whoever did is my hero. It helps me at work, and we do work. We work hard. It's how we support our families. Often others look for us to set the standards and the pace. Some of us choose leadership. Sometimes leadership is chosen for us. But the great news, it's the soft and very achievable skills that will determine the outcome. Success in leadership is available to us all. Good luck and have fun.